Mr. Robbins, you may begin the meeting.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, June 10th. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Insurance Benefits and Ledge Committee.
Thank you, Chair Robbins. This meeting is being conducted virtually, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Mr. Knox, Mr. Santos, Ms. Gray, Mr. Bernstein.
Here.
Santos is here.
Okay. Mr. Oakham.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Kehoe.
Present.
Ms. Zapanta. Mr. Pryor.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Go back, Ms. Gray. Chair Robbins.
I am present.
Staff participating in the meeting includes CEO Santos Kryman, AEO JJ Popowich, Interim Chief Counsel Johanna Fontenot, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice, Legislative Affairs Officer Barry Liu, from Retiree Healthcare, Cassandra Smith, Director, and Kathy Magida, Consultants Stephen Murphy, Paul Sadro, Richard Ward, Michael Zito from Siegel. Trustees, if you have a comment or question on any item, please use the Zoom chat option to be placed in queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mics until you are ready to speak, and we may now proceed with the agenda.
Thank you very much. We do have a quorum. Item 1A, approval of the minutes of the meeting of 5 de Mayo. Need a motion?
So moved.
Are there any changes, corrections? Seeing none.
We need
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Chair Robbins?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Trustees, if you have a comment or question on any item, please use the Zoom chat option to be placed in queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants.
If anyone has a live stream on your end, please go ahead and remove that live stream or place yourself on mute.
We have a quorum. Item. Yeah, I just lost my picture, so I don't know what happened, but we're now on item 2, Bonnie, or Terry.
Okay, we're on approval of the minutes. Oh, sorry. Public comment. There is no public comment.
Thank you very much. On item 3A, Mr. Liu, you have a report.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chair Robbins and committee trustees. Item 3 is actually a recommendation as an action item. It's a recommendation for the committee to recommend that the board approve an engagement with California legislature. As you know, our CEO, Santos Kryman, was hired in late 2019. And then a few months after that, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. So generally what our state lobbyist, Mr. Ackler, wanted to do was to be able to introduce Mr. Kryman, our new CEO, to the legislature, but we haven't really had a chance to do that. So with the reopening and hopefully with things loosening up, Mr. Ackler believes that around late August, maybe early September would be a good time to do that. So that's our recommendation to the committee.
Is there a motion?
I move it.
I'll second it. Call the roll.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Mr. Oakham?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Chair Robbins?
I'm an aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. We're on information items 4A, semi-annual report on approved engagements. Anything additional, Mr. Liu?
Nothing too much. I did want to add that as far as the Social Security Bill HR 2337 is concerned, they finally released the text of that bill, so I'm going to be bringing that forward to the committee. As you know, we have support the reintroduction of this bill, and we met with Chairman Neal staff. I think it's been over a year and a half ago, but we were working well with them on this bill, and so I hope to bring this forward. Other than that, there's currently the SACR's SB 634 bill, which has various cleanup items in there, and some of our items on technical changes are included in that, and continue to work with the SACR Sledge Committee on additional items for the following year. But other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none. How about item B, engagement report for May, Mr. Liu?
Thank you. So some items of interest for you here. The first item concerns the fact that, retirements have increased during the pandemic, which is, not too much of a surprise. Generally, retirement rates have been declining for the past 20 years since 2001, but there were definitely some spike ups in this past year. And generally, it seems that they were due to job losses, although some people have retired because of increases in home and stock values. It seems that it's more likely these retirements are due to job losses. And then the next item concerns the Cal Savers lawsuit. It's been ongoing for a couple of years now that the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association have filed against the Cal Savers, saying that it's really an invalid plan that should be preempted by ERISA. The latest news is that they've lost their appeal with a 3-member panel of the Ninth Circuit Court. So they're now seeking an appeal with a full circuit court going forward. And then just talking about secure choice plans in general, New York and Virginia are the latest states to sponsor an auto IRA program to basically provide access to employees who don't otherwise participate in a retirement plan. And so overall right now, there's about 17 million workers that participate in an auto IRA of one sort or another, who have saved about $220 million. So there's been an ongoing establishment and adoption of these programs, and the Georgetown University Center for Retirement Initiatives actually provides a nice overview of what's been going on. So since 2012, 46 states have taken some sort of steps to establishing a program, and then there are currently 15 jurisdictions that have enacted a program, 13 states, and surprisingly 2 cities as well. But as far as active programs are concerned, there are currently 5 states that have active programs, which are California, Illinois, Oregon, Washington, and Massachusetts. The other interesting thing about the Georgetown Center's report is that they basically categorize most of these programs in 4 different models. The one that we're most familiar with, of course, is the auto IRA. Some other jurisdictions might do a Roth IRA, which basically would make it so that the earnings are tax-free. And then there are other models such as a multiple employer plan or a marketplace. So it's a very helpful resource to see, to keep up with what's going on with the secure choice programs. A couple of items on pension reform in Louisiana and Texas. There was a bill in Louisiana that would have, toughened retirement rules for teachers. Due to opposition, that's been set aside. And part of the criticism was the fact that, this bill wouldn't produce any cost savings for at least 30 years. But meanwhile, it would adversely affect the recruitment and hiring of teachers. On the other hand, in Texas, the Texas legislature recently passed a pension reform bill that's headed to the governor's desk that would put new state workers into a cash balance plan, which is similar to a 401k plan. So the Texas state system currently is looking at a 14.7 billion budget shortfall, and the bill would provide annual payments of 510 million through 2054. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to this bill and if the governor actually signs it. And then I think I mentioned in the past hybrid plans. That was something that a lot of pension reform proposals tend to propose. So the National Institute of Retirement Security recently released a report that looked at hybrid plans and sees that there's just a wide range of plan designs. So this was a very helpful report to see, how these plans deal with benefits, risks, and costs. And so they put down some nice categories of hybrid plans. The one that I think we're most familiar with, that we hear a lot about, that I just talked about, was cash balance plans. But they have these other plan designs, such as horizontal DB-DC plans, vertical DC-DB plans, DB-DC choice structures, which says that you can either enroll in a pension plan or you can go to, say, a 401k type of plan. And then there are also DB plans with risk-sharing provisions. I believe the state of Wisconsin has a plan like this where their COLAs are tied to, the plan performance. So there's some volatility there as far as, whether you get the same amount each year or not. But otherwise, more locally, the one jurisdiction in California that I believe that has established a hybrid plan is the city of San Juan Capistrano. They're an outside district with the Orange County system. And I think it was back in 2015, they created a hybrid plan due to PEPRA. And so that's their Plan W. So that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Liu, for a good report. Item C, staff activities report for May, Cassandra.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Back on May 13th, I received a formal request from the plan sponsor requesting that we transfer $50 million from the retiree drug subsidy account into the OPEB trust account. FASB and myself have been working together collaboratively with the county to arrange that transfer scheduled for June 15th, but no later than the 30th if we are not able to get it actually on the 15th. So we're in the process of getting that $50 million transferred over to the OPEB trust. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Any questions? We're on to D, LACERA claims experience. Stephen Murphy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to pass this off to Paul Cedreau to walk us through the financial experience.
Paul.
So if we can bring up the first slide. So we're looking at premium and enrollment. As we've seen in prior reports, United Healthcare enrollment and premiums continue to increase while we saw a decrease in the Kaiser premiums. This is despite increases in retiree counts for Anthem, Kaiser, and United Healthcare, which resulted in a total increase of over 100 retirees, around 110. We saw a similar increase for dental and vision, but basically no increase in premiums. So we can move to the next slide. So there was little change in the most recent 12 months from the prior report. We did see about a $15 increase per retiree per month from Anthem, which we will look at in more detail on the next slide. There was only a slight increase for Cigna. So we can proceed to the next slide. So looking at Anthem claims experience, we saw increases in prudent buyer and in plans 1 and 2. These are the non-Medicare plans. It resulted in roughly a $15 increase in the non-Medicare per retiree per month claims, while the Medicare sub-plan, Plan 3, experienced virtually no change. So we can go to the next slide. So the Kaiser utilization report was not updated from the prior report. Basically, utilization is is showing lower claims for medical and increased claims for pharmacy. This is due to COVID effects, which we've discussed before. There was also a shift to inpatient from outpatient, and that was due to reductions in non-essential care. So we can proceed to the next slide. So here this is the high cost claimant report. Really very little change from the prior report. We are seeing a few high cost claimants on coming in for the Cigna plan. This is consistent with the prior report, and we're seeing, you know, quite a high amount and a high increase from the prior 12-month period. And we can proceed to rebates. This report wasn't updated. Rebates are staying more or less flat. We'll be providing an update for Q1 at the end of June. So that's when we'll receive the update, and we should be able to include that in the next report. And we can proceed to dental. So we did notice an uptick in both vision and dental claims. This was to be expected as you know, the economy and everything opens up again. It seems like retirees are starting to use dental services more. So we saw roughly a 10% increase in the most recent 12 months for dental and about a 5% increase for vision. Still, we're seeing the most recent 12 months as significantly lower than the prior 12 months. So that concludes the experience. I'll just open it up if there are any questions or anything you want to discuss.
Questions? Anybody have any questions?
You know, Les, I heard yesterday that, and I understand that it's a great report, that the deaths from diabetes and heart have gone up drastically this last year. Of course, it doesn't seem like we got impacted by them. Stephen, have you guys heard that, or because that could be a real situation for our large claims? Anything going on that you've heard about those increases? I mean, it increased pretty drastically for the last 20 years. And cancer.
Yep, diabetes is certainly one of the key items, and we're seeing that across the board. Active population, retiree population, so that will have a corresponding impact on a variety of conditions, cardiac, oncology. So I think you're spot on. So those are the things that Kaiser and Anthem are working on to try to engage those individuals. They do have programs in place to work with that, and I know that the staff works very hard to make people aware of the resources that can help in that regard. And then CVS clearly has a significant role, given that prescription drugs touches the vast majority of those key cost drivers.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure, thank you.
Anything else? Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Paul. Item E, federal legislation, Steve.
Just one quick item of note. On May 10th, the Department of Health and Human Services announced that they would interpret the non-discrimination requirements under the Affordable Care Act to encompass discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. So this is in direct response to a Trump initiative that occurred late in 2020, which was a lot more refining. So basically what the department has said is that they're going to use the interpretation from the ACA back when it was initially issued. That in itself, though, does not change the law. So administration will have to work on new rulemaking to kind of enforce this on a permanent basis. So we'll probably see more language on that in the coming months. But that's, in a nutshell, that's what we're seeing from Washington right now.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Item 5, items for staff review.
We have nothing to report.
Thank you. Item 6, good of the order. JP.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Mr. Kehoe.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Santos. Mr. Oakham.
I have nothing, thank you.
Vivian.
She's not.
How about anyone from staff? Mr. Kryman.
Nothing for me. Just have a good day.
Then I'll just add something on the never going to go away, I guess, issue of the lifetime cap on the Anthem Blue Cross. Ms. Kehoe and I were asked to meet with POPA about 2 weeks ago at their request to discuss what it was they could do to help in getting the county to agree to eliminate or increase the lifetime amount on the Anthem Blue Cross plans that are impacted. Subsequent to that, I was contacted by some of the County Coalition of Unions people. I know that Mr. Kryman, Cassandra, Captain Megita, everybody's been working on this issue. Our consultants. I had a conversation on Friday with one of the union people who, and I'll just put it diplomatically, there's an awful lot of skepticism and worry on their part that we're going to get any love from the Board of Supervisors to do anything when it comes to employee pay and benefits. They seem to believe that that is the current mindset of a 3-2 majority of the board. And I won't tell you who the two are, but the unions are extremely skeptical that that the Board of Supervisors are going to get on board with making any changes. So, but I think the unions to a degree will, and I think we need to also consider 721's got to be a part of any attempt. They just represent so many county employees. So, well, I will continue to work on this issue because I know it's a big deal on Mr. Kryman's agenda. He's shaking his head and I get it. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Cassandra, anything that you want to add or?
No, that's it. We're just continue to work steadily trying to collect the data from the county so we can continue with the project.
Okie doke. Any other questions? With that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
And thank you very much. We are adjourned.